Hello, buddy. Welcome back to the Tin Man Score channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor. Today, I'm starting off by a new Creepy Diaries marathon for you guys. And the first video I'm reacting to is Someone Broke Into My School, 3 Scary True School Lockdown Horror Stories. So without further ado, I'm going to turn these lights off, move the camera up here for you guys, and let's get this reaction on the road in the bag, shall we? Okay, here we go.
My name is Daniel, and I'm just an ordinary high school junior. History has always been my favorite subject, but that day, everything changed. It was an ordinary Tuesday, the kind where nothing special happens.
Right.
But it would soon turn into a day I'd never forget. We were in the middle of a history test, and the room was so quiet you could hear the ticking of the clock. Mr. Carter, our history teacher, paced the front of the room, occasionally glancing at the clock. I was on question 15, scribbling furiously, when the intercom crackled to life.
"Attention, students and faculty.
The principal's voice said, sounding strained.
This is a lockdown. I repeat, this is a lockdown."
Now, luckily, we did not have any serious lockdown drills in my schools, but occasionally we do have like lockdown practices. I'll be like, oh, good, we get to take a break from a test. But if it was a serious situation where somebody broke into school, then you wouldn't be caring about the test. You'd be more worried about your life. And sometimes the teachers would let you either finish the test the next day anyway. But let's continue with the story and see what happened that caused the lockdown to begin with.
"Please follow protocol immediately."
The announcement sent a chill down my spine. I looked around and saw the same fear reflected in my classmates' eyes. Mr. Carter's face turned pale. He quickly instructed us to move to the corner of the room, out of sight of the windows and door. We crouched down, huddled together, trying to make ourselves as small as possible. "What's happening?" I whispered to my friend Amanda, who was shaking beside me. "I don't know," she replied, her voice trembling. "Do you think it's a drill?" Before I could answer, I saw something through the small window in the door. A shadow moved past, slow and deliberate. My heart pounded in my chest. Who was that? Were we safe? Mr. Carter motioned for us to stay silent. He quietly locked the door and turned off the lights.
Now, if the teacher is pale as a ghost and he orders you to stay silent while he locks the doors, this ain't no drill. There's someone actually walking in the school that don't need to be there. This is serious.
We sat there in the darkness, listening to the distant sounds of footsteps echoing through the halls. Each sound felt like a thunderclap in the silence. I pulled out my phone, hands shaking, and sent a text to my parents. "Lockdown at school. I'm scared. Are you there?" Seconds felt like hours as I stared at the screen, waiting for a reply. My mom's response finally came through. "We're here, Daniel. Stay safe. We love you." I held on to those words like a lifeline, but the dread didn't dissipate. Time dragged on. What was happening outside that door? Why were we still in lockdown? The questions swirled in my mind, unanswered and terrifying. Suddenly, the footsteps returned, closer this time. The doorknob rattled. I held my breath. Every muscle in my body tensed. The shadow outside paused, then moved on. I exhaled, relief mingling with fear. "Do you think it's over?" Amanda whispered. "I don't know," I replied, my voice barely audible. Minutes later, a new sound reached us, the unmistakable noise of police radios. My heart lifted a bit. Maybe help had arrived. The door to our classroom swung open, and a police officer stepped in, his expression serious but reassuring. "Is everyone okay?" he asked. We nodded, too stunned to speak. The officer led us out into the hallway, where more police officers were guiding students out of the building. As we walked, I saw other classes emerging, faces pale and eyes wide. Outside, in the harsh daylight, The principal addressed us. Earlier today, a former student, recently expelled, entered the school with harmful intentions. Thanks to quick action, no one was harmed. The individual is now in custody. The words washed over me, surreal and almost incomprehensible. A former student? Harmful intentions? The reality of how close we'd come to danger hit me hard. I felt my knees weaken, but Amanda grabbed my arm, steadying me. In the days that followed, the school tried to return to normal, but it was impossible. Every noise, every stranger, every unexpected announcement sent a jolt of fear through me.
It's going to happen like that for a few days. You can't just get over that in a heartbeat. But if it was a former student that came back that caused the lockdown, he probably was in there looking for either some classmates that he hated so bad he wanted to kill them, or attack a former teacher of his. So my guess is when everybody was entering the school, he snuck in, hid until all the students went to their classrooms. And when everybody was busy doing tests or something, he would then walk out and cause the lockdown to happen. But I'm just glad that the cops came and grabbed him before he even done something harmful to any of the students or staff at the school.
The sense of safety I'd always taken for granted was shattered. I realized that day how fragile our world really is and how quickly it can be turned upside down. Safety and trust, things we often overlook, became precious and elusive. That ordinary Tuesday was no longer just another day. It was a day that changed everything. My name is Sarah, and I'm a senior at Madison High School. It was supposed to be an ordinary day, the kind where you just go through the motions, waiting for the bell to signal the end of classes. But that day was anything but ordinary. We were in the middle of English class, dissecting Shakespeare, when the intercom buzzed to life.
Attention, students and faculty. This is a lockdown. Repeat, this is a lockdown. Follow all protocols immediately.
A murmur ran through the classroom. We'd had drills before, but something about the principal's voice felt different. Our teacher, Mrs. Wilson, froze. Her face went pale, and the fear in her eyes was unmistakable. Mrs. Wilson, is this a drill? I asked, my voice shaking. No, Sarah, she whispered, her voice barely audible. This is not a drill. My heart dropped. Mrs. Wilson quickly motioned for us to move to the corner of the room, away from the windows and door.
You know, sometimes staff will get on the intercom and say that if it was a drill, they'll say, this is a lockdown drill. Please lock your doors and hide, you know. And then the staff will walk around and act like they're the people that broke in, try to shake the doors just to make sure everybody's going by the rules. If this ain't no drill, they just say go into lockdown, then it's a real serious threat that needs to be taken seriously. And people need to follow the protocols and lock the doors, close the windows, and hide. So whoever broke in the school won't find you.
We crouched down, trying to make ourselves invisible. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the sound of our breathing and the occasional whisper. What's happening? Asked my friend Andrew, his voice barely more than a breath. I don't know, I replied, my eyes darting around the room. But something's wrong. Really wrong. Minutes ticked by, feeling like hours. Suddenly, we heard faint footsteps in the hallway. My heart pounded in my chest. Who was out there? Was it someone dangerous? The questions swirled in my mind, each more terrifying than the last. Andrew squeezed my hand. Do you think they'll find us? He asked, his voice trembling. I hope not, I whispered back, praying that we were hidden well enough. The footsteps grew louder, then stopped right outside our door. I held my breath, the silence deafening. The doorknob turned slightly, but it was locked. Whoever was out there moved on, and the tension in the room eased just a bit. After what felt like an eternity, the intercom crackled again.
Attention, students and faculty. The lockdown is over. Please remain in your classrooms until further notice.
Mrs. Wilson let out a shaky breath. "It's over," she said, but her voice was still laced with fear. We slowly stood up, our muscles stiff from crouching. The room buzzed with whispers and questions, but no one had any answers. After a few more minutes, police officers began to escort us out of the building. We moved in a silent line, the reality of what had happened slowly sinking in. Outside, the principal addressed us. An armed individual was apprehended near the school. No one was hurt, and the situation is now under control. The words felt surreal. An armed individual? Right near our school? The fear and shock in everyone's eyes mirrored my own. We had come so close to something terrible, and it left us all shaken.
Ooh, yeah, I'll be shaking too. If it was an armed individual, that tells you right there that person was planning on breaking into the school and start using their gun to attack any student or staff member and cause a lot of bloodshed in there. But thankfully, they notified the cops quick enough to apprehend him. I know there's going to be a lot of people that were like me, where we had just drills and we didn't have no situation this severe happen like these stories that were being told by these people. But you never know that one day your school will be targeted by a school shooter or a random civilian that had a vendetta against a staff member or another student. So if you guys have a school lockdown and it ain't a drill, please take it seriously, because you never know who will enter the school building that will cause the lockdown to happen. But I'm just glad that this person was able to make it out of there all right with all the other students and didn't get harmed by this shooter.
In the days that followed, the atmosphere at school was tense. Every sound, every unexpected announcement sent a ripple of fear through us. We were all struggling with a newfound sense of vulnerability, realizing just how fragile our sense of safety really was. That day changed us all. It taught us that danger can come without warning, and it left us grappling with fears we never knew we had. We had faced something terrifying, and it left a mark that wouldn't fade easily. My name is Emma, and I'm a sophomore at Westfield High School. It was lunch period, and my friends and I were in the cafeteria, laughing and joking about the latest school gossip. The cafeteria was filled with the usual chatter and clatter of trays, but everything changed in an instant. The lockdown siren blared, an ear-splitting noise that immediately plunged the room into chaos. Students began to scramble, their faces masks of confusion and fear. "What's going on?" my friend Megan shouted over the noise. "I don't know," I replied, my voice shaking. I saw Mr. Johnson, our math teacher, hurriedly locking the cafeteria doors, his face a mask of urgency. "Everyone, get down and stay quiet," he shouted. My friends and I found a corner behind a stack of chairs. As we crouched down, I noticed a younger student nearby, her eyes wide with terror. I reached out and took her hand, trying to offer some comfort. "Are we going to be okay?" she whispered, her voice trembling. "Yes," I said, trying to sound more confident than I felt. "We just need to stay quiet." Whispers spread through the room like wildfire.
Oh man, that is one bad place to be in during a lockdown, is a cafeteria, because a cafeteria would have a bunch of doors and windows, and whoever walked into the school to cause the lockdown can look in there and see who's in there, even if you're hiding underneath tables. But if they have doors that lock, then you should be okay, and the person that caused the lockdown will not be able to get inside.
"There's an intruder," someone said. "I heard someone's been hurt," another voice added. My heart raced. Could it be true? Was someone really inside our school? I clutched my phone, refreshing the news page for any updates. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely scroll. Nothing yet. The silence in the cafeteria was deafening, punctuated only by the occasional sob or whisper. "What if they come in here?" Megan asked, her eyes wide with fear. "Don't think like that," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "We're going to be fine." Minutes felt like hours as we sat there, every creak and distant noise making us flinch. My phone buzzed with a text from my mom. "Are you okay? Lockdown at your school on the news." I quickly texted back, "I'm safe, in the cafeteria. Love you." The younger student squeezed my hand tighter. "I'm scared," she said, tears streaming down her face. "I know," I whispered, wrapping an arm around her. "Just stay close to me." Suddenly, the intercom crackled to life.
Attention, students and faculty. The lockdown is now over. Please remain where you are until further instructions.
Relief washed over us, but the fear didn't fully dissipate. We stayed huddled together until Mr. Johnson unlocked the doors and told us it was safe to leave. We slowly filed out of the cafeteria, our faces pale and eyes wide. In the hallway, the principal's voice echoed through the intercom again. The lockdown was a precaution due to a robbery suspect spotted near the school. There was no intruder inside the building. Everyone is safe.
Oh, thank God.
The words should have been comforting, but they left a hollow feeling in my chest. A precaution. No intruder. It felt too close, too real. The false alarm had shattered our sense of security, leaving us all on edge. The days that followed were filled with anxious glances and whispered conversations. We all knew how fragile our safety really was now. That day in the cafeteria left a mark on all of us, a reminder that our world can change in an instant, and the feeling of safety is sometimes just an illusion.
You got that right. Even though it might have been a robbery suspect that was nearby that caused the alarm lockdown situation to happen, your sense of security would be fragile, that's for sure. But luckily, that guy did not even enter the school to hide from police. He just went away somewhere else. But still, the person caused a lot of people to be in a panic that day. But I'm just glad that these students and faculty members did not get hurt or injured in any way. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications for more creepy diaries content like this. This has been another successful installment of the Tin Man's Corner channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor, and I said that's a wrap, and have a nice day, y'all.